Okay, so why not I do this? Make a spoiler talk for Spider-Man Far From Home before we have Spider-Man Brand New Day. So yeah, I know. Okay, I was trying to think about pulling it out from here. Spider-Man Far From Home we can talk about before Brand New Day. Yeah. Y'all know by now I was on a trip to San Diego, so I kinda did watch the movie itself at the iTunes download. Yes, I use iTunes, so when I just make the opportunity. Okay, so yeah, I can even share here that I can recall going to theaters to see Far From Home. I do remember at the age of 13 back in 2019 with Spider-Man Brand New Day. So yeah, so yeah, man, how would I do for each of these Spider-Man movies? So okay, I was kind of pulling out the same night, man. Here are the movie. Okay, the movie starts off with Mexico, where we find Rhea Hills and Nick Fury find chaos and pass by until it revealed to be Mysterio, who was actually there for something else. And then cut to a montage to remember the heroes who died off in Avengers Endgame. Everything you know with Tony Stark and what happened to Captain America, what happened to Black Widow, what happened to Vision and Infinity War, or even been hauled off in movie that 8 months pass. As we know, Peter and the others could have been in college instead of 11th grade. But as we know, nope. Peter and other fellows were still in high school. And with Peter with his class being on a European trip, and with Peter planned a relationship with Michelle Jones, and he only tells them that even calls that scene where MJ come for a little chat and calls him Dorsey, when Ned almost split out for a moment before leaving hall. And me, I could definitely clear that I am aware of the real life relationship between Tom Holland and Zendaya. Yeah, I'm already aware since No Way Home. Yeah, just by being told about that relationship. So, and back to Far From, where I have May Parker as Spider-Man intended talent show stage for the public, and yeah, and including one where Hammond comes in just to bring in something for the show stage. Hey, they had to and a call from Happy about Nick Fury. He tried to cost Peter Parker. He was Peter trying to comment about him calling somebody else, but no, he just declined the call. Of course, Happy just also calls on. He didn't want to call him, but he tried Peter Parker, but Peter declined the call. Just so he can be on his trip with his life and his class, just because we already been going through since Infinity War and Endgame. We know, as we know, what happened to Peter Parker back in Infinity War and Endgame. Blip for 5 years. Yeah, and let's not forget who else blipped alongside him. So as we know, he wasn't the only one, and May was out doing the while he was and back on Far From Home with Peter trying to attend some questions and people asking him, and he will try to ask him when he could go do it after Tony Stark's death before exiting the building. Just had moments with himself, and May cut to the moment Peter tries packing for his trip, and May try to throw a banana at him just for the single day, but no, nothing. And even calling about him bringing his suit, but as we know, he didn't want to. Just want to leave his suit behind just so he can have one kind of break. That is the European trip. And yeah, and on to the moment where the class already on board, or include that But when Flash tries to chat with Peter and with MJ, learning out to one flight attendant to call about Flash actually being 17, not 21. Then take that alcoholic drink before you take a sip. Yeah, yeah. MJ had to do one kind of blurt out to Flash. What you guys would think about that scene with that blurt out?
With the moment when Peter trying to get Ned to get somebody switch seats with Peter by telling them about Peter having a perfume allergy, but somebody else over here's a then trying to take over for a moment. There's where Peter instead sit right next to one of his teachers. Here's instead of MJ he wanted, and then having Brent be the one who sits with MJ, and Ned sits with Betty. Yeah, trying to be organized, and call moments on arriving. He was arriving, and also gave Ned and one kind of romance with Betty, as we know in the movie. And even called the moment when Peter got his bag checked out after being sniffed, which turned out to be the banana, and include the moment when Peter finds out that May snuck in the suit. And we have the class find rather illy. He venture in the boat, find a hotel to set up, drop off some stuff, then venture out more and make haul off the mud with Flash Thompson getting hit in the void. Yeah. 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 Flash Thompson trying to make a vlog until someone just. Yeah. And Peter tried to buy a gift to give to MJ. Hey, and called the moment where we have a water bottle. Came out of nowhere along with Mysterio comes in to take it out and then leave off. Had the class, what's the news and not knowing about Mysterio and called it. And see where Ned gets shot by a tranquilizer dart by Nick Fury, who finally gets to meet he and Peter Parker in person instead of dodging his call just because Fury wants Peter for particular kinds of missions before had to bring him over along with giving him glasses Stark gave him and meet under a tunnel where Peter meets Mysterio again in Maria Hells where Mysterio explains about the elements and where he came from. But of course, catch in mind when Peter not wanting to be on superhero stuff, it's that just want to be on his trip. So went back to his class, called him the next day, or seemingly off screen, he theorized by Peter about Fury somehow hijacked his trip just so Fury had Peter want what he want on. So yeah, he was, and then had to think about Peter trying out the glasses and learn about and Edith and call the scene where the class stopped by for a bathroom break until Peter was called on trying to do and called the scene what Flash catches Peter for, or even Peter tried to use Edith to try to use against and Brad. I think I mixed up Brad with Flash. My bad. Please forgive me for a moment. Yeah. As we know, Peter mistaken Brad for a target to send out a Stark drone, but Peter had to make a diversion to take out the drone, saving lives. I said, then Peter tries again. What he did was seemingly got Edith to instead somehow hack into Brad's phone just to delete one kind of picture. Close call. call off next. Half the class arrive at Prague and receive tickets for the carnival. And Peter has a or out again with Nick Fury about their mission and before it led to another change of plans for their trip where the class get tickets for an opera. Of course, as we know, the last one at the carnival over opera, but they got brought over anyway. Hey, he and Peter still have moments with NJS one and left in the opera along with Ned and Betty. As we know, Spider-Man got a new suit that gets dubbed Night Monkey. Just like Ned had to make up, and other people had to make up with that suit. Unlike what we had with Miss Marvel, and yeah, I did watch Miss Marvel years ago. When people tried to call Kamala Khan Nightlight, but as we know, she wanted to disagree with that name before it got switched to Miss Marvel, as we know as Ms. Marvel. Yeah, I call it a similar thing happened in Spider-Man Far From Home with this Night Monkey. As we know, we get to the moment. Yeah, just trying to think about the moment where Mysterio and Spider-Man face off the fire element until Mysterio decides one technique is try to blow the whole thing up. So yeah, call it the moment where Nick grabs both of Quentin Beck and Peter Parker about what they did, and then call it the moment where Beck invites Peter for a drink. As we know, he was still in high school age, and other than me, already hitting 20, so I'm already passing the 18 plus range, so still I can call him not yet on me either. So yeah. Yeah, so of course, there's Peter calling off as a reclassification about him being 17, but not 21. So avoid alcoholic drinks, and I could choose the same thing. Avoid alcoholic drinks. And yeah, I'm gonna choose to avoid those. Because of anything health related, as we know when it comes to drugs. That's something I like to comment for a moment. Yeah, just a comment to myself. And let's call. And Peter. Try to make up a few sort on. And Peter try to make a clue about the note he had when getting eaten and try to offer the glasses to Mysterio without telling his actual secret before leaving, then reveal Miss Quentin Beck had actually been using hologram illusion to fake how those attacks, those sequences, all a fake with holograms, just because Quentin Beck also had a crew who secretly helped them out and revealed everything, and that Quentin Beck had been working with. So, yeah. It revealed that Quentin Beck himself was originally one of Tony Stark's workers, whose name is Lice Works Barf, before the call off that Tony fired went. And on to the scene where Peter comes back to his ultimate meals. Ned, of course, comes to his teacher. I just reviewed the names. Just call him Roger and Julia as I review on Peter's two teachers. So, just because when I called the moment where Roger was already on the phone, called in, relieved to see Peter alive, and all in one arm hug and live on back on the phone. And Julia calling out reason how they're leaving, reason for their friends being there for science. And yeah, pretty sure Roger was the one who called to Ned to put some clothes on. And call a moments where Peter finally had moments with MJ, and plan for it to meet up again. Then once we reveal that MJ found out Peter's secret with Spider-Man, and along with the two find out how that the elements were fake and find out one, the projector that broke off one of the drones, Peter was able to find out how that he even had to, even Peter finally confessed his secret to MJ. So, of course, Pluto that moment where he sits up and then finds out who finds out next. And may call moments with Quentin Beck where he's only running some tests until he finds out how one of the drone projector was missing and find out who found out about the secret with Peter and MJ. So, call the scene where call another trick that Peter falls for by Quentin Beck is after being driven by in a car and brought to one building until Peter didn't know. Another illusion by Quentin Beck where it was actually a trap by Quentin Beck for Peter to fall for, or more illusions haven't fall far until the moment when Peter got hit by a train to call off. Peter was able to grab on, get inside, had a little settlement until off screen he was found and brought into a hold up in Netherlands where he ended up next. So, of course, Peter was able to break out with other prisoners just choose to stay. And he was one of them just close the door. And Peter went around and asked someone to borrow his phone just so he can call for Happy about his whereabouts and tell him what happened. He'll call the moment where Happy arrives and he's landing in a flower garden. And Peter has to check first until a confirmation that he's real, making sure none of Quentin Beck's illusion. And so, yeah. Happy trying to help out with Peter while trying to sell for him. Moment. Here, yeah, again, Peter, what Peter had to be over with. And kind of mind what kind of back on for it. Of course, called me get to the moment where Peter had to borrow Happy's phone. Of course, find out Happy's password was password. Yeah, and Peter had to check through Flash's post to get their whereabouts while Peter works on another suit to get to use. Cut to the class has come by the bridge and without knowing Quentin Beck was setting a trap for his class to be taken now until get to another illusion to display out until Peter and Happy finally arrives and Peter still getting mind about Happy hanging out with me. Then Peter falls into the holograms where he decides to take out the drones from the inside until he able to get the drones and finally reveal himself where Spider-Man himself had to go by himself to face all the drones hanging down. One batch to the next, include that scene where Peter got his back on fire and had to splash himself against water to take out that fire until he arrives to Quentin Beck out of West until Quentin had to spew out another illusion for him to fall for it, and Peter tried to get his tingle thing back into play until he was able to write things down with his eyes closed until one of the drones fired at Quentin. Yeah, as we know, Quentin Beck got shot by one of his drones, and Peter was able to get the Ether glasses back and able to deactivate the drones. Peter gets another moment with MJ and find out that his gift for MJ broke during the attack, but MJ just accepted broke it. What else could try to do with that gift? Glue it back together? Could they try that? And then Peter finally got his one thing, his love for MJ. Hey. And on to the moment where Peter's clan arrives back to the U.S. where their family was already, including May, already waiting for her. Peter and, of course, in the moment where Peter has a speech with May and Happy. Of course, as we know, during the movie where Happy Hogan falls in love with May Parker. And on to the moment where Peter goes out to pick up MJ and Hank, where he swings out, texts at the same time. Of course, as we know, in the movie, MJ calls to Peter, don't swing and text at the same time. Well, as we know why I had to know what you're coming across. So call the same thing. Why you don't want to walk and text at the same time. Yeah. And cut to the moment where Peter finally arrives to MJ to pick up and swing around. And include that moment where he almost dropped MJ and had to catch her. Here, let's cut to the two post-credit scene. After MJ and Peter had us weigh in and choose to put down MJ, and was about to swing away until it gets attention to news report that reveals some secret news from Mysterio. Where Mysterio, and his crew made lies about Peter Parker, include lies about the drone and call out Spider-Man killing Mysterio. And people fall for it. And include J. Jonah Jameson getting involvement and the reveal that Mysterio reveals Spider-Man's identity as Peter Parker. I know. It was pure reaction to get cut out. What the F? Yeah, just like with the end of Spider-Man Homecoming, where we made it with the mic. Yeah, even with Spider-Man Homecoming also ended off with the F-bomb getting cut out, just like with Spider-Man and Far From Home, trying to think about and call his second post-credits scene to reveal that Maria Hills and Nick Fury were actually scrolls in the sky. Were actually sent by Nick Fury. So yeah, and make a phone call to Nick Fury to reveal that he was actually off planet the whole time for some personal business with schools. Yeah, here. I call that to wrap it up. And confess once again, I'm actually doing this with more than one recording, and I'm actually rushing out this spoiler talk. Yeah, I'm actually rushing this out. So yeah, I'm actually trying to spend the rest of the night just to make this video, and have it exported the next day, like you see me with my Comic-Con video. So yeah, that's some confession I'm just gonna make about this video. So, hope you like my spoiler talks for Spider-Man Far From Home. So yeah, I hope you enjoy it. Just a spoiler talk before we had Spider-Man Brand New Day. So make sure you like, share, subscribe, comment down below, and see you fellas later.